Your Honor. Clifton J. Murphy, Lee County Assistant County Prosecutor, 0063519.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for being here.
Your Honor, good afternoon, sir. Sam Szymanski on behalf of the accused, Mr. Keesee, who is seated to my right.
Thank you. And sir, you, Gary Thomas Keesee.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, like counsel to approach the bench, please, before we begin. I have a couple of questions for you. So, Mr. Szymanski, would you please acknowledge receiving the indictment, waive the reading, and the explanation of the comments?
Yes, so acknowledged, Your Honor. My client has been receiving the indictment for many days. I've explained the same to him, read it to him, waive a reading. And whenever the court is ready, we'll enter pleas of not guilty to all counts contained therein.
Right now, please.
Not guilty, Judge, on all counts contained therein. Thank you.
All right, so addressing the matter of bond, what does the state have to say about bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would request $5 million cash surety, no contact with victims, GPS monitoring if bond is made, as well as surrender any passport. The request is based on 22 of these counts are classified as crimes of violence, and then it actually has the ability to multiple properties in both the U.S. and Canada, and as well as apparently access to a private plane. Thank you.
Thank you. And is there a victim advocate for them?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and the victim's present to the care to speak.
Yeah, Your Honor. Then you know what you speak. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And what does that have to say about bond?
Your Honor, first and foremost, of course, I don't need to remind the court about bail in Ohio. You understand it well. With respect to risk of flight, Judge, I'd like you to consider the following. These are facts. These aren't flights of fancy. My client does not have access to a private plane. He doesn't own a plane, doesn't have a pilot's license. He doesn't intend to flee. We have known about the existence of this investigation now for probably the better part of 3 or 4 months. It's been no secret that these accusations have been made. They've been swirling throughout social media, throughout his parents' church community. So had Thomas had the inclination to flee, he certainly wouldn't have waited until just a few days ago to exercise that intention. The truth of the matter is, Your Honor, that he respects this system of justice. He has faith in our system and in the citizens of this county to make a good, fair decision. And he's hired my firm to represent him throughout these proceedings. So he doesn't present a risk of flight. And further consideration of that contention, of that assertion, Your Honor, is that he stands before you with no record. He has a business. He's involved in production, in movie production. He's married. He's gainfully employed. He's a property owner in Licking County. His parents, who are longtime members of this community, are also owners of property here. Both of those properties are available to be pledged should the court feel that's necessary. But I would submit to you, Your Honor, that what you haven't heard from the government is any reason as to why my client presents this as a risk of flight. And the reason you haven't heard that is because it doesn't exist. And Cliff and his office are very good prosecutors. If they had evidence, if they had any fact to present to you that says, hey, this gentleman is a risk of flight, you would have heard it. But their silence speaks volumes. And the reality is that there is no risk of flight. And next, I'd ask you to consider danger to the community. These are most certainly extremely serious charges. We take them seriously. And in fact, the court is already aware, having reviewed the indictment, that I think count 17 or one of the counts might be a 25 to life. We had to go through the statutes, but I believe that the 2007 rape statute may carry 25 to life of a child under 13 but older than 10. So the stakes are certainly high. But I would also submit to you, Your Honor, that even if you were to assume for a minute that these counts had some validity past the fact that they were indicted by a grand jury, and we recognize how low that standard is. The last act, I believe, is alleged to have occurred in 2011. So we know from at least 2011 to 2025, my client has been doing nothing but working hard and following the law. Not a single criminal charge has been levied against him because he hasn't committed any criminal acts. So the fact of the matter is, Judge, that you can safeguard the community with global positioning satellites, with restrictions on travel, surrender of passport, we believe is wholly appropriate. But I would submit to the court that an appearance bond in an amount that reflects not only my client's lack of flight risk, but also his lack of record and the presumption of innocence, and the incredible amount of time that has passed between 2011 and 2025, it is an extremely important consideration for the court. Additionally, Judge, without getting into the strength of the evidence, because I frankly don't know how strong the evidence is. But again, if you had some super compelling evidentiary positions or facts that the government was in possession of, such as his DNA is here, his confession, you would have heard that today, and you have not. So I can only ask you to presume from that this is a case that will rest probably exclusively on witness testimony. And again, I'm not in a position to comment on whether it's strong or weak, but I can assure you, Your Honor, that my client presents no risk of danger, and he will follow scrupulously any order that you put on this case in terms of bail. Thank you, sir.
All right, the court's going to set a bond of $2 million cash security without the 10%. And the defendants also ordered to pay $5,000 deposit, cash deposit, to cover the cost of the GPS monitor. Those two, bond and cash in the GPS monitor, shall be deposited in the Knox County Clerk's office. The defendant will be subject to pretrial reporting to the Knox County Probation Department. The defendant shall not be released from the Licking County Jail without posting bond and the cash and being fitted with the GPS monitor. That'll be in the bond. Our officer will come to the Licking County Jail to install the GPS monitor. The court's going to suspend the defendant's driver's license, and the defendant's also ordered to surrender his passport and his driver's license to the Licking County Sheriff's Office prior to his release, and the court is ordering no contact with the victims. Any other issues on state things?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Any questions from the?
No, sir. Thank you.
Anything else from the state today?
No, Your Honor.
I think the court will set the matter for trial. And, case.
Thank you.